Let's talk about common gamification pitfalls. So if you decided during the instructional design process that gamification is appropriate and will enhance the learning process, you should be aware of a few of the more common types of pitfalls and how to avoid them. First one is trying to gamify everything, because you're excited now about gamification, you want to try it and you want to just gamify everything in sight because it's like a really great way to teach learners how to do something. So if the learning is not a true game and is more of a cut and paste add-on to existing training to try and add more engagement, you're not going to get interested learners or the results that you're hoping for. Don't try to gamify everything just because gamification is great and you think it's a good thing to do. You need to carefully determine what content should be gamified and what content is better left to other delivery methods. Then spend sufficient time up front to ensure that gamified learning is well designed and planned out, as I mentioned before. Use game components that provide value and benefit and align with learning goals. Another one is just adding badges or any other gamification element. One of the most common misconceptions about gamification is that adding badges will ensure learner engagement will increase. Well, badges can be an effective motivator, you need to be strategic about when and how you use them. Ask yourself, will the badge have specific meaning to the game or to the real world? For example, if the training is to encourage learners to collaborate, a badge could encourage friendly competition between teams or encourage knowledge sharing and collaboration. Or a badge could be awarded that earns employees extra game points when they work together to complete a level. To be effective, the reward or achievement must be meaningful to your learners. That's a key point, and be somewhat difficult to obtain. You don't want to make it easy because then there's no challenge in it. Consider who the target audience is and what will motivate them. Then use gamification components that fit your audience and align to your learning objective. I just want to talk a little bit about that for a moment. Considering who the target audience is and what will motivate them, that is part of what you do when you do your analysis up front. Obviously, when you create, when you've got a need for training, is you're going to find those things out through the analysis process. Is, what is the goal of the training? What are you trying to have the learners be able to do by the end of learning? And what job performance are you trying to change back on the job or improve back on the job? So those kinds of questions about who the target audience is, what motivates them, you need to ask those questions. You don't just guess and assume that people are motivated by the same things you're motivated by, because they just might not be. So those kinds of things, and really planning it out well. So the story that you create or the idea that you create for your learning, is it going to resonate with your learners? Does it make sense? Is it something that relates to or aligns to what they're doing back on the job? Those are really important things that you need to think about up front before you actually start designing the training content itself. Another one too is there's no ability to share success. Social sharing is essential to driving engagement and motivation in people. Create a training course that has a social aspect and give learners the opportunity to share their success with others. Some of us like gaming alone, and most of us, though, as we saw in the poll earlier, like to be social, and also the statistics that I told you about, that many people really love being social when they're gaming. So consider why Facebook and Twitter and Snapchat and all those other social platforms are so popular. It's because people like to share, they like to be social, they want to share things that they do with other people. So think about those things when you're looking at gamification, or thinking about designing for gamification. Not getting senior management support. Now, this seems like a really minor thing, but it's actually a pretty major thing if you think about it, especially the larger the organization. Gamification can be a really daunting prospect for many people in an organization. I personally have been a part of that. Especially senior management who may look at gamification as playing games, and I'm putting that in rabbit quotes, instead of serious learning. Show leadership how gamification and games are different, and how increased learning engagement reflects in improved performance while ultimately improving ROI and the bottom line, ROI being return on investment for learning. Find a senior advocate who will support your efforts and communicate the benefits. It'll be so much easier to bring it into your organization if you haven't already done so.